What drew you to want to be a part of Godzilla?
Gareth Edwards, really. I was thinking the other one that begins with G. Gareth, not Godzilla. Yeah, Gareth really. It was really. I was a huge fan of what he did before Monsters. And it wasn't what I was expecting then, you know, and he's sort of done the same with this, you know, and from a character standpoint and perspective, he's very clever at doing that, and he's very visually artistic, and so, you know, it has a raw, grittier imagery and really sort of character driven, really emotional, really comes from their, you know, the issues within the bigger scale of things, and you know, and reverted it back to the original, you know, which I never knew anything really about Godzilla, right? So I had no kind of like, oh, well, it's got to be like this, and it's got, you know, so he really just educated me in why it even got originated 60 years ago, you know, in Japan after World War II, and it felt really, it was really moving, you know, that maybe, you know, that they kind of had to have some way of explaining what they've been through and to kind of translate it in, as a metaphor. So it just had so much weight behind it. And, you know, and in this meeting, it was supposed to be only 30 minutes to an hour. It was 6 hours, and I just came out going, I want to be a part of this. I think this is a great filmmaker. I want to work on this. So it was him.
Can you tell us about your character, Brody, and what kind of issues he's facing?
Yeah, I play this character who's he's married. He's got a child. He's got a 4-year-old son. Although he's kind of he's not very anchored in the beginning. You know, he doesn't really have any sort of. He doesn't really understand his responsibility as a father, and as he's kind of got a pretty bad relationship with his own father, so he's always constantly trying to escape from that, I think, you know, until he kind of sorts out his issues with his father, and they have a bit of a feud because he sort of got abandoned 15 years prior to this, when an accident happened in Japan. And his dad kind of went insane and lost his mind into this one thing, and kind of forgot that he had other responsibilities in his life, and that he had a son to raise. So I have a lot of issues right at the beginning with him, Bryan Cranston, which is impossible because he's such a charming guy and funny to work with. And yeah, so it's sort of like this overcoming thing of realization of actually, you know, what's really important in life is the things that, you know, we love and care for, you know?
Now, he's in the military. Did you do any research in the military to play this part?
Yeah, well, my guy's an EOD specialist in the Navy, which is a bomb defusal kind of guy, and but, you know, which is kind of difficult in this aspect that, you know, there wasn't so much of that to kind of really get too complex on, but I had a guy with me every day, this Marine, Jim Deaver, who's worked on many films before, but also has huge experience in the military, and it was just, yeah, kind of getting used to that sort of mindset, that lingo that the guys have in the military, and just the equipment. It was all just sort of, yeah, immersing myself in as much sort of that military background to give it as much. Make it as believable as possible, you know, in that role.
Can you tell us about any of the technical requirements, and was there a lot of special effects and stunts that you had to be aware of while you were filming?
There was a lot of stunts that that I was able to do, and the special effects aspect of it was. They had a lot of stuff already kind of made up on this thing called Previs, which is like special effects footage that they've made already, and they showed us on like iPads or laptops, and of kind of what they were kind of expecting to do once they put us in it. So we was kind of aware of the kind of geography of where the monsters, how close they were, how far away they are, you know, if they were, you know, and then also what was really great, what Gareth did, he had speakers on set, and so you kind of hear the movement over there, and then it would roar over here, and you know, so you so all your senses were kind of going at once, so it didn't leave much to the imagination. It was kind of not, it was easier than you think to kind of work with, you know.
Knowing Godzilla and what you've learned about it, why do you think that this character's endured such so many years along, and why it's become such an icon?
You know, I'm not sure, and that's because I've never really seen any of the others, really, because I guess it must have just made, I mean, I know why this one kind of, I think, will work, and I think because we went back to the origins and the roots to what it meant, like I told you before, and so we embraced that. Everything else before that, I don't know, because like everything was kind of watered down, I think, you know, it's just, oh, a monster that could be a lizard, that could be a dinosaur, you know, which was all wrong from the fanboys' perspective. I mean, this one was created with the Toho guys who did, the same studio who did the 54 version, so they were all happy and signed off with it, and, you know, so you got the right people's, you know, approval, and everything else before, I didn't know, you know, had no understanding, it had no meaning like this does, so.
Fantastic. Okay, that was great.